Hey guys, Sam from Aaron's Outdoor, and today I'm currently in South Georgia on my way to the Santa Fe River in North Florida, which is a really cool river that I've gotten to fish the past couple years. Both of my trips down here the past couple years I've caught in one giant largemouth each trip. And there's also a bunch of Suwannee bass in this river, which are a type of bass that look kind of like smallmouth. They're really fun to catch, and if you catch a 14-incher, you get a little certificate. I got one of those each of the past 2 years. Last year I also caught a big pickerel that I got a certificate for. And the past couple years I've gone with John from Creek Fishing Adventures. He wasn't able to make it this weekend, but this was a weekend that I had time to go and I really wanted to go. So I'm just going by myself this trip, but we may try to make another trip down here this year. Or I might try to make another trip down here this year. But either way, by the time I get there today, I think there's going to be less than an hour of daylight. So by the time I get down there, I may or may not have any time to go fishing. I mean, if I have like 30 to 45 minutes, I might put my kayak in and try to catch one fish. But I'll at least get my campsite set up because I'm going to be camping there for a few nights and maybe take a look at all the springs down there. They're really cool. There's a bunch of these crystal clear springs that flow into this river that are really neat to see. So anyway, I'm going to get back on the road because I'm already wasting some time talking, but I'll see you guys down in Florida. Well, I might not be able to go fishing today. I just made another stop. I got a bag of ice for my cooler, and I also have low gas, so I'm also gonna have to stop to get gas, which might put me there less than 30 minutes before dark, if that. So I may have to wait till tomorrow to at least put my kayak in, but at the very least, maybe I can like make a cast or two without putting my kayak in today. All right, I just made it to the river, the Santa Fe here, and as you can see, one of the springs is behind me there. It is about 5:20, it gets dark in like 30 minutes, so I don't think I'm gonna have time to put the kayak in tonight. Probably won't even make a cast tonight. I think I'm just gonna go ahead, get my campsite ready, and be ready to catch some fish in the morning. Well, I finally got my tent set up. I mean, I don't even have the rain cover on right now, and it is drizzling, but that broken pole caused me a lot of problems. It was right on the top of the tent too. So I kind of like duct taped to this stake, and I think it'll be good enough for this trip, but I might have to get a new tent. I bought this one for like $29 at Walmart, so I might just need to get a little bit of a nicer tent. All right, it's the next morning. I'm definitely ready to do some fishing. I kind of had a rough night of camping in that little tent. Some water seeped in, got my feet wet, but it wasn't too cold. Definitely wasn't the worst, but now it is time to do some fishing. I'm gonna pack my lunch and stuff for the day, get my rods ready, and then get out on the water and hopefully get to catching some fish. All right, well, I'm finally out on the water. Took me a while to get ready this morning. Definitely like over an hour. I mean, this is like the first day, so hopefully tomorrow I'll get to fishing a little bit faster, but I think I'm gonna start off with a chopo today, try to cover some water. And if that doesn't work out, you know, I'm sure I'll throw like a trick worm and helgermite right against this cover. I caught like a handful of fish right off this tree last year. And in general last year, they were really tight to wood. And I just saw a bass. Like the water's so clear. It doesn't look like it because it's a black bottom, but you can see straight to the bottom. I just saw a bass like right next to another tree. Oh my gosh. First cast with a helgermite. All right, well, made a few casts with a chopo. I saw a few bass down there, and with my first cast on that helgermite, I got a bass. It's really small. It's a little largemouth. It's cool catching the Suwannee bass here. I think it's a largemouth. Yeah, that's a largemouth. A lot of the largemouth are so dark they almost look like Suwannee bass here. But that's a good sign if I got one that fast, and I've already seen, you know, quite a few bass just swimming next to the kayak. All right, I'll let him go. Hopefully we'll be getting on some bigger ones than that. There's one, another little bass, another largemouth, I think. Oh, well, I'm floating downriver because I'm in the current, but there's another little tiny largemouth. I can't tell, it kind of looks like there's a fishing line right there. I hope it's not. Oh, right there. Oh yeah. On the chopo. Oh, dude, he's
squirming like crazy. There's a little bit better largemouth. He's super dark. All right, there's maybe like a, I don't know, 12, 13 inch largemouth. At least he's not super tiny. And he hit it on topwater right next to the kayaks. That's pretty awesome. You know, I mean, I'm only 20 minutes in, I've already caught 3 fish, so it's definitely a good sign, and they seem active. Let him go. Here's where one of the springs come in. It's crazy how clear the water is. I mean, oh gosh. Pretty much the whole river's that clear, just the springs have those cool, like, sandy blue bottoms. Oh. There's one. Oh, it's not too small. Definitely bigger than some of those we've caught. Ooh, it might be a Suwannee bass. I can't tell. Oh, I can't tell. Oh, it's a big Suwannee, dude. This is big for a Suwannee bass. They don't get big. Oh. Come on. Dude. That might be a 14 incher. You get a little award if you catch 14 incher. I've done that the past couple years. He's gotta be 13 at least. He's gonna be close. Oh dude, I'm right next to the spring. I'm gonna have to release him in this spring. Get a cool underwater release. All right, finally got what I would call a good fish. It's definitely not the biggest bass ever, but these Suwannee bass don't get that big. I think the state record's like 3.89 pounds, which is also the world record. I think you can only catch them in Georgia and Florida, South Georgia and Florida. But that guy, I mean, they're just like footballs, kind of like a smallmouth. But they have a really tall body. And I don't know if this one's 14. He's probably like 13, but either way, it's a good one. Well, I underestimated him. He was right about 14.5 inches, which is actually about tied for the biggest one I've caught. So I think the biggest one I've caught was, I think it was like 1.5 pounds. So we'll see what this guy is. 1.11 pounds. So even though he's only 14.5 inches, like not even really, he's 1.11 pounds. They're just such like thick fish. Little fish, oh my gosh. Kind of got this on the outer edge where the spring dumps in. Well, that is tiny. Oh, I got a little bite, dude. I casted this Chopo out, and I caused so many little minnows to like pop up. I was like, that might be a good cast, and a little one hit it. I mean, the minnows were really small, so. Oh my gosh, I was gonna say it might have been a small fish. I got one right there. It's my best fish of the day, I think. It's probably barely hooked. Back hook only. Back hook only. Oh man, he's jumping. And that's getting stuck in my other rods. Oh, come off, buddy. Oh! I got him in the net. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Dude, he popped out and I netted him. Dude, that was so lucky. That was lucky. I knew he was barely hooked. I was taking a little too long. It's nothing that big, but it's our best largemouth of the day. He probably weighs less than that Suwannee, probably a little longer. All right, best largemouth. He might be like 15 inches or so. Definitely doesn't weigh as much as the Suwannee. All right, this guy was 15 3/4, so it's the longest fish of the day, but I highly doubt he weighs more than that Suwannee. I mean, I'm not gonna put him on the scale because it's just a smaller largemouth. Those Suwannees just don't grow anywhere near as large as a largemouth, so like a 14 incher, you know, I wanted to weigh, but Let this guy go. There's one. Caught a few fish right here before the last couple of years. Typically they're largemouth right here. Yeah, I mean, we've only caught one Suwannee today, and it was a trophy size. All right, well, that's another small largemouth. It's another topwater fish. Now we've caught most of our fish on topwater. I think this is number 7. I think 4 have been on topwater. You know, both the topwater and Helgerman are going to work well today. I think, but just, you know, I typically prefer them in slightly different areas. So I'll definitely be using a combination of both the rest of the day, and maybe some other lures too. Ooh, little feisty guy. There's one right off that tree. I think it might be a Suwannee. Let's see, yeah, a little Suwannee bass. There we go. I think that's fish number 8, and we've only caught 2 Suwannees. Typically I do catch mostly largemouth here. But man, yeah, that's a pretty little fish. They are so dark though, like it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. All right, I paddled up to another little spring that was right next to where I caught this guy. So I'm gonna do another underwater release.
What's that?
I said y'all can come on through if you're coming through.
Okay. What do you...
I got one, but all right. It's a little Suwannee bass. No, this is a Suwannee. It's called a Suwannee. They're not very common. You can only get them in a.
What is that?
It's a Suwannee bass.
Suwannee bass.
They kind of look like smallmouth almost.
Yeah.
Now what's these fish that jump out of the
Oh,
water?
those are mullet.
Mullet? That's
Yeah.
what I thought they were.
Kind of looks like a little smallmouth.
Is that a Hobie?
No, it's a Crescent kayaks. They're made in Georgia. That's kind of like a river bass fishing kayak. All right, third Suwannee bass of the day. This one's maybe a tad bit bigger than that last one we caught. He pretty much came off the same tree. Let him go. There's another one off this tree. A bunch of people just kayaked past it, but there's definitely fish under here. Oh, it's gonna get off. This one's a little better. Oh man, another Suwannee, dude. They're stacked up on this tree right here. Fat, they're so thick, like they're a lot taller than a largemouth. All right, let this one go. For the most part, what I've figured out so far is the ones near the trees typically want something brought down to them. And most of the ones I've caught on a chopo are just in some like shallow areas, kind of shallower grassy areas. I did catch one chopo fish right off a tree, I think. Oh, there was a fish. Well, in the 8th Helgermite though. Might be another Suwannee. Maybe? Oh yeah. Dude, we've caught 4 Suwannee bass in a row now. This one just peed on me a little, I think. He's pretty small, but you know, if I'm gonna catch a small bass, I'd rather catch a little Suwannee bass instead of a little largemouth. Oh, I had one. Dang it. Oh, there's one. Ooh, this one might be decent. Not that big, but could be another Suwannee. Oh, wow, lost all pressure on him. It's not that big, but largemouth. Whoa, oh my gosh, it just hit my face. I didn't even notice it. Man, there's so many dang fish in this river. I mean, we've caught 2 like decent fish today. I mean, one of that Suwannee bass was a really good Suwannee bass, and then one like somewhat decent largemouth. Besides that, they've all been pretty small, but when I'm just catching them left and right like this, really can't complain. Oh my gosh. I saw that fish. He definitely felt the hooks. He wasn't like big, but he probably was maybe the best one of the day.
All right, well, I am not in Florida anymore, but I'm gonna have to end this video here. This was an incredible day of fishing. I mean, I caught so many fish. you're gonna have to stay tuned for the next 2 videos to see this entire day of fishing. This is probably the first time I've ever made one day of fishing, 3 different videos, but after catching those first 12 fish on the Helgermite and the Chopo, I ended up switching lures, and that ended up being a really good switch, and I caught a ton of fish on that lure. So you're gonna have to wait till my next video to see what lure that was, but I hope y'all enjoyed this one. I'm gonna have at least 4 other Florida videos coming out from this trip, so y'all are gonna wanna make sure to stay tuned for those. But I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. You can follow my Instagram at Aaron's_outdoor. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed that video. Thanks for watching.